Hello,
Super.
everyone. Thank you very much for joining our Bits and Bolts bi-monthly tech break, where we talk about a handful of either new features or features which have been released as part of 42 Gears' SureMDM suite, and just highlighting some of the ways to best utilize them. As always, you have myself there on the right and Stuart Clark on the left. He is the territory manager of the Africa region, and I look after DACH and the Netherlands. Our contact information is always available to you. If you have questions, comments, or would like to see a different topic, or maybe even suggest a different format, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear your feedback. Enough about us, a little bit about you all and some of you which are attending. Again, there will be a drawing at the end of this year, but I just wanted to give a quick update to the current status. Where do you stand, all the different people within 42 Gears? So then, sorry, the attendees watching the 42 Gears webinar, big shout out to you all. And of course, all your attendances and questions help raise you up in this status board. With
Looks
that,
good. Looks like some changes there.
there you
There's
go.
some familiar names for me that are shooting up as well. So yeah, so good.
Good sign. Wonderful. Perfect. Then, yeah, with that, just to jump into a quick overview of the topics, I will be talking about network fencing in SureMDM. And the example I'm going to give you is network. Only reason for that being it's much easier for me to show than time or geofence, but a lot of these things are going to work the same way. We have a handful of users which are super users in how they use fences and how they combine different things to get really creative things done. And on the other side of it, we've got some users that I think could benefit from learning a little bit more about it. Then after that, Stuart will talk about OS updates on Windows devices and I think some general Windows stuff. So with that, let's jump into my MDM console. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger just in case you're on a smaller screen. And pretty straightforward. We have the MDM. I have two of my devices. One device is with me here, and that's the Bits and Bolts device. This is my Moto. If I come over here to the right-hand side of the device, because that's the device that's selected, I already see the geo, time, and network fences which are applied. In fact, I can even edit and work on them here. So before I show you what's going to happen to the device, let me show you what I've configured. Essentially, I have two SSIDs which are in my fence. The idea being if I am inside or on either one of these networks, the device status is going to be fence entered. And if I'm on any other network, it will be fence exited. Now, what happens when I'm in or out of these fences? And if it's a time fence, it's the same principle, same with the geo fence. Inside the time or inside the geographic region, we are looking at time fence. And here I've done a handful of things, three things actually. First of all, I have a normal kiosk mode. I'll do a remote screen capture in a moment so you can see it, but this is the normal mode. I also have set normal device location, which is location tracking off. This device is in the network. It's where it should be. I do not need to be tracking it. And finally, I've sent an alert to the device. We'll see what all of this looks like in a second. Now, when I exit the fence, when I go to a network which is not on the ASUS or the March GmbH network, I will then start to track. So I'll turn on location tracking. I will remote buzz the device on very low volume because it can be quite loud. And I will apply a different Sherlock settings to this device. Of course, I can make changes here and make apply. However, I would recommend that you make these changes in jobs because then you can better apply it across all the different devices. So right now we see that location tracking is off, and that is because I am on the March GmbH iPhone SSID network. Going to just open the remote, actually, I have a remote support here that has timed out but is open. That is the device, same screen. This is working. I'm on my network. I'm inside my fence. I'm just going to click on, and you can either look at my screen or the MDM console. But here I'm going to then join the SAMIs, which is a SSID and a network which is not on the geo or the network fence approved list. As you can see now, there's a little bit of a discrepancy as the network kicks up and the remote support starts to work again. Just going to refresh it here. And it can take up to about 30 seconds for a network fence or a policy to kick off. Do you hear that buzz? We just had a quick buzz, and now you can
Yeah.
see that a export, an import, or an update of SureLock settings has taken place. So if I go to the home, I now have a very different screen set to the device. So I have actually, just to make it as simple as possible, just created a title bar here at the top. Lost, insert SureMDM name. Please contact Armaan at 42 Gears or call this number. Thank you for your help. Help needed. I've even allowed two different applications. One app is the Wi-Fi application. So you can come here, and for me, it's much easier now to jump onto a different network. But the other setting, which I have also approved, is I have the phone application allowed. This is a smartphone, so I can make calls out on it. And I've even saved within the phone manager application from SureMDM, this is part of SureLock, that same phone number. So a user does not need to pick up a different phone if they found this phone and they want to return it to us. We've actually saved that as a contact within the phone. And they can then directly contact us and get this device hopefully back into our hands. And if nothing else, my "we need your help" icon there hopefully motivates them to do it a little bit more, let's say, proactively. I'm having fun with it. You can, of course, customize this and brand this however you like. But just to quickly show you another example, if I click here, I'm going to go back to this is actually a hotspot from my iPhone, clearly. I'm going to go back there to that network, and then just going to push the home button. We're still here. Again, it can take up to about 30 seconds for this to kick off. That's because that's the heart rate or heartbeat, the kind of check-ins that we're doing on the device and to the MDM console. Once roughly 30 seconds or so passes, if you remember, we're going to actually see the devices, or we're going to get a notification on the device itself, just telling me, just as an example, showing me that this device has now been kind of back on the network or back on back in the normal state. Let's give it a second. I'm curious if my hotspot, yes, I think my hotspot turned off. Sorry. Let me get that back on. All right. Now we should be coming back in a moment. So I think now I'm back on the network, and then give it a second or two. It'll figure out I'm on a approved network, and it should just make sure. That's sorry. There we go. Yeah. We're now seeing just a quick message. I could reply if I wanted to, but I can cancel. But just letting you know. And of course, this alert template can be completely customized. But if I come out or back into the home, I'm now back to the original kiosk mode, which I've set up. So regular usability. This is cool, Armaan, but what if I have network devices which have no cellular connectivity? Well, this is where it gets really fun. All of these geofences are saved, or whatever configurations and things that we've set to these devices are configurable and sit on the device. So let's imagine, and I'm going to do this in a moment, I have a router which I just plugged in here, and this router has no internet connectivity. I'll show you this just to prove it. But if I come now to my Wi-Fi center and jump over to my ASUS Wi-Fi router and hit connect, this is a device which is, sorry, actually, you know what, before I do that, let me move you to my home network, get this device out of compliance again, and then because I want you to see that change take place. There's the alert, out of the fence. It's applying the settings. I will refresh the console. I'm sorry, I think I did that a little bit too fast for you. Let me go back just to my regular Wi-Fi network. It'll beep again, I'm sorry. But you're gonna see then in a moment it come out. While we're waiting for that to get checked, you can also come here and you'll see back and forth the status updates of the location tracking. So also a part of the configuration. Again, if I have no Wi-Fi connectivity, that is what it is. But if I do, it gives me the option to be able to track a device. You see here, now it's green, location tracking on, wallpaper is back here. Now what I want to show you is if I come here and join the ASUS network, which has no Wi-Fi connectivity, what happens? Now, remote support's going to stop working, of course, so you're going to have to watch my little screen here. Still the we need your help. Now I get the notification. Sherlock settings are updating. I just want to hit close here very quickly. And now you see that I am back into the SureMDM or the regular configuration. If I go to the MDM console, I hit refresh. It's going to try to establish a connection. It's not going to be able to because the device is offline. And just to further prove the point, I'm just going to exit Sherlock manually on the device. It's probably going to be way too small to see up there that the icon there has an exclamation point. But if I just open Google and let's search Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. As it tries to perform the search, of course, it's not going to be able to. At one point, it'll jump over and say offline. Again, just because my network or this Wi-Fi router has no network access. So the point I'm trying to make here is any fence that you set in place, even if I'm using fences as the example, but even compliance jobs, you can do a lot with it to configure these devices and to make sure that they are as, let's say, as restrictive or as customized as possible to meet your use case. And rest assured, even if connectivity becomes the problem and these devices no longer have access to Wi-Fi, these policies and these rules will still get applied and they will still be enforced. There is no way to get out of whatever you've configured unless you're doing it from the MDM console or restarting the device altogether. Really quick, I've just joined my out of compliance network again. I am out of kiosk mode. You can hopefully still hear the beeping. And if I do a restart, I should come back into the remote support now. And as you can see, of course, Sherlock has been launched. The right setting has been applied because I'm out of compliance. MDM console, I am tracking this device. Again, a lot you can do here, a lot you can customize and play around with, but this is a use case that I'm seeing quite often. And if you've worked with me a lot, you know that a demo example I like to give a lot is just having that network or a beeping, just associating the device to vibrate or buzz or make that alarm sound can be helpful in many ways. One, just notifying somebody that you don't have connectivity. And also, if these are like devices which a user has with them all the time, let's imagine this bigger phone, it's a handheld scanner that's attached to your waist. These devices almost become a part of you. 1/3 of the day you're using these devices, and it just feels as comfortable and as normal as the regular phone you have, your personal phone you have in your pocket. So just notifying the user, hey, you've left work, you've clocked out, but you still have the device with you, please bring it back so the next guy can use it, can have a huge amount of value and help you there as well. But yeah, that's my quick example of network fencing. A lot more you can do there. Same for other fences, also the same for compliance policies. very, very customizable and cool thing to use. I hope you try it out and have some fun with it. I will check quickly now to see if there are any questions. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I just saw the comment of hi guys that was posted earlier. Hey, you know who you are. But thank you very much. If you have any questions, if anything comes up, please put it in the chat. We'll answer it at the end. And also, if you have any questions that come up after the fact, please reach out to us. But with that, Stuart, I will give you the presenting rights and you can talk a little bit about Windows.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Let me, perfect. There we go. Are we good? Have you got my screen on?
I see you. Perfect.
Super. Perfect. Good. Well, thank you guys, and that was really, really cool. Thank you. I was just sitting thinking of so many different environments and use cases that I could include it in, and yeah, I hope for many of the others who joined it will be the same. So I'm going to touch on our OS updates. You would have noticed in the top bar of the SureMDM console more recently, we have something that is still marked as beta. But I wanted to just spend a little bit of time explaining why it's there and how some of the partners that I work with more regularly have been using it. And I hope obviously that would give you the introduction that you need or the confidence that you need to begin playing around with it in your own customers' environments and make it a little bit more, I guess, user friendly in terms of the experimentation that you might wish to do. So let me jump to my console again. Just a quick reminder, and I know we probably say this at each and every time, but don't forget to have a look in the knowledge base. This particular one again is covered, or at least a portion of what I'm going to show you is available within that knowledge base, and is available. The search options and the various topics that are covered are really, really big, and I hope that it will be something that you can find and it would help you in the future. So those, before I perhaps jump on to OS updates, let me show you quickly that for those of you who have been using Windows, and I'm going to pick Windows purely for this example, but remember that this specific OS update function covers Windows, iOS, iPadOS, macOS, and Linux. So while I'm speaking only of Windows today, keep that in mind. And you, as I said, you would have noticed perhaps in the more recent past that the OS updates and the OS updates uninstallation was available within the job selection under obviously the Windows environment that I'm looking at right now. And I guess for many of those partners that I've worked with, it was there and not something that necessarily stood out. And we had various ways of being able to manage these updates within our profile as well. You perhaps would have noticed that there is the possibility to be able to create a specific configuration related to the updates of Windows OS in this environment. But more so and more recently, as I said, you would have noticed this, I guess, dashboard being available and showing within our cloud environment of SureMDM. And I guess this has triggered many of our partners to be able to have a look at it and to be able to begin using it, I guess, where they perhaps wouldn't have in the past. And so really the goal obviously was to create this environment that shows you a nice quick look at what is available. And I have selected again just Windows, but as I mentioned, there would be a number of the other operating systems available. And we've separated it both into what we call an overview and then an installation, let's call them dashboards, I guess. We have the possibility to be able to see those patches that are available on this one device that I have enrolled, both those that are still eligible to be installed, those that have been installed, anything that potentially is pending based on the fact that you have initiated the installation, and then lastly, those that have failed on this particular device. A little bit more information around the way that it's been distributed, and then I guess a slightly different view in terms of those that are pending and how long they've been pending for. I think important at this point just to mention also that on Windows devices, this is only possible on those that have been enrolled using our EMM and our dual enrollment methods. And for those of you who've never done this at all, have a look under our enrollment tab. You will see within the manual enrollment and Windows function, again, using just Windows for the example for today, We have 6 or 7 different environments or different ways of enrolling Windows devices here. And we have on our YouTube channel short 2 or 3 minute videos that cover each of those as well. So if this is brand new for you, please do yourself a favor and go and have a look through those. It will absolutely change the way that you understand the way of enrolling Windows devices into our environment. So again, EMM and dual enrollment are required in order to be able to handle the patch distribution or the Windows update distribution. You will see as I scroll a little bit further down a view of those that are available and potentially installed or pending for the device that I have enrolled in my console, some details about them, and even the ability to be able to click on that particular update and receive a short description of what that particular update covers. The option to be able to filter, so we have various options, and one that I guess is important to point out as well, specifically for critical updates. If I was to filter for critical updates, we have the option to be able to select that update and approve it for distribution or deployment onto devices directly from this list. That's only available for the critical updates. The rest are available to be able to select and deploy as part of a job, which I'll show you obviously in the next couple of steps. So again, direct deployment from this list of critical updates. And if it's anything else that you wish to bundle with those critical updates, it's best to use our job function at the top. And the minute you've used this job function to create a new job, you will notice that you are given the options to be able to do either the approval or the deployment as it would follow, or the uninstall of perhaps a previously deployed patch or update. And so in this case, I'm going to select the approval. You will notice that it routes me to what would look exactly the same as if I had gone through our Windows Jobs OS Updates function. And again, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I have the possibility to be able to select some of these and potentially even go through the option of being able to add more as part of what I'm looking at doing. We follow the same logic as creating a job for any of our other functions in SureMDM. We give this a name and potentially a reference. And then you will notice that when I have the option to be able to flow through from this, sorry, I'm going to jump one step back. I was busy looking at adding another. Let me select one of these. You will notice that I have the option, let me call this number 1 quickly, to save this job for deployment either at a later time or specifically, I guess, different use cases would require it to be deployed onto different groups of devices or potentially all devices as you perhaps have your devices structured, or the option to be able to save and apply this onto all devices that require or at this point are available to receive this update. I'm not going to do this at this point in time, but I just wanted to give you the logic that would flow in terms of being able to select those updates and then the options in terms of being able to separate either an immediate apply of this job onto those devices or the option to be able to save it and select on which I would like to apply this job. The same would apply in terms of the uninstall job that we looked at just now. These specifically show the options for packages that have been installed that I would like to be able to uninstall. And as I mentioned, the option to be able to save and apply are available within that environment. Something else perhaps just to point out is that you will notice that once you've created any of these jobs, you have a folder that is created within your jobs section. And that is now called Windows. Well, in this case, as you would see, let me hop one back quickly. You would notice I now have a folder called Windows OS Update Jobs. And if I was to explore those jobs, it's obviously a shortcut directly into that particular folder where I have now created one of the test jobs that I was using. So the option, as we do with all of our jobs, to be able to go and modify, copy, delete those jobs, or obviously to be able to choose to apply them based on perhaps a scheduled deployment, as I think Armaan covered in the session a couple of weeks ago. So I really think, and just in the short time that I've been exposed to this Windows dashboard function, I've seen the benefits for many of our customers who are largely obviously working on Windows deployments, both in terms of being able to manage what is available, as well as potentially to be able to roll back or uninstall a patch or an update that's been put in place. And so yeah, I can picture that this would be very helpful for those of you who are doing this on a more regular basis. Good. Well, there we go. I hope that would help some of you who again, as I said, potentially would like to begin testing or playing if you haven't already within the Windows OS functionality. Lastly, just a couple of reminders. I know we have chats on this before a couple of times, but our academy is live and available to you. The expert course has been added. I believe it's about 6 hours long, so I make some time, and you know, as I would imagine you can see on this next slide, there are various components making up this course, and I think that many of those would be very, very useful for some of you who have been familiar with our solution but want to push that I guess training that you have or experience that you have to the next level. Reminder, as we often say about our bits and bolts sessions, available on our YouTube channel, and feel free to use that QR code on the bottom right hand side to be able to go directly to it. Obviously, within the next couple of days, this specific episode will be uploaded, and I think I have mentioned it previously, but we've tried to name these episodes in a way that makes it clear and easy for you to be able to go back and have a look in case you missed it. But secondly, if you wanted to refresh your knowledge on something that we had covered in the past. A reminder, obviously, for those of us that are not affected by daylight saving, the timing has changed, as some of you may have realized this morning. But the next session coming up on the 19th of November, which obviously would be at the same time as we have had today, and then we have 2 sessions scheduled for December, and obviously some dates to come for next year. And then lastly, and I'm sorry, I didn't even check while I was going. Did any other questions come through while I was chatting?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, perfect. But again, as always, guys, please, if you want to reach out to Gabby or any of our partner marketing team, the email address is displayed, partnermarketing@42years.com. Our tech support team available to you and to the end customers in obviously various different ways. But if they want to be able to use email, techsupport@42years.com. And then again, Armaan and my emails at the bottom for any questions, any suggestions, anything at all that we can help with, please feel free to reach out. And with that, I think we've got to the end. And yeah, thank you again for those of you who make a regular effort to join us. It's a pleasure to be able to share with you. And we will see you on the 19th of November.